Meeting Phenomenal Women, an invitation to a literary festival and cultural showcase, and tips to keep you healthy. Just some of what's inside today's edition of Jamaica Magazine. Hello and welcome to our show. I'm Audrey Williams, your tour guide for today's journey. Stay with us.
We want a productive Jamaica. We are not productive Jamaicans. Productivity to move forward on this land. Productivity, that's the way to go, we should understand. Productivity is the way to go for all us Jamaicans. Small business, big business, old and young, we are tell every woman and man. We want growth and prosperity for a better nation with a building plan. So we can build our product and sell our product and put more money in our hand. Our economy can rise to a level and build a better nation. Productivity to move forward on this land. Productivity, that's the way to go, we should understand. Productivity to move forward on this land. Productivity, that's the way to go, we should understand. Productivity.
Productivity, Pathway to Prosperity. A message brought to you by the Jamaica Productivity Center, a department of the Ministry of Labor and Social Security.
Good day, I'm Caroline Brown-Thompson and this is your JIS News for Monday, March 17. The National Response Team, led by the Office of Disaster Preparedness and Emergency Management, continues to monitor the situation at the Riverton City Disposal Site, having contained the fire that started early Sunday morning. Shortly after the fire started, ODPEM activated its National Emergency Protocol. The Jamaica Fire Brigade dispatched 7 water engines with aerial ladders, foam and tractors to bring the blaze under control. ODPEM now says the smoke nuisance and levels of toxicity have been significantly reduced.
There are a number of trucks that is working in the area. We're getting supplies from the quarry by ferry. So we're moving dirt from that location to the Riverton City location to push dirt onto the fire, as well as pouring water. So it's cooling the area and putting dirt on the site to suppress the fire.
Businesses and schools in the environs were given the green light to open Monday morning. The general public is still advised to continue observing the necessary safety measures to reduce smoke inhalation and mitigate respiratory conditions. In other news, Western Jamaica is in line to get a highly specialized general hospital that will significantly advance Jamaica's drive to develop health tourism. The 22-bed facility will be built through a $20 million investment by Spanish firm Hospitan Group. Prime Minister Portia Simpson Miller has welcomed the investment and called for others to follow the example.
The decision by the Hospitan Group to commence construction of this highly specialized general hospital in the heart of Jamaica's tourism industry comes at a time of improving economic stability, supported by positive ratings by the international rating agencies. This investment represents a tangible outcome of Jamaica's tourism master plan and the work of successive governments.
The 3-story hospital will be constructed on land that the company acquired at Red Girl in Cinnamon Hill in 2008. 300 jobs are to be created in the construction phase, which should begin shortly and be completed by the second half of 2015. The primary target market for the hospital will be tourists in Montego Bay, Ocho Rios and Negril, but locals will also be welcomed at the health facility. To complement the project, the Hospitan Group will be establishing 11 nursing stations along the north coast, as well as clinics at the new Falmouth Pier and the Ocho Rios Cruise Port. Meanwhile, a demand study program is to begin within the next 2 months to determine the needs of the tourism industry and resulting investment opportunities. The study will be carried out by the recently established Tourism Linkages Council, which comprises 19 members representing various stakeholder groups in government and the private sector. The council's chairman, Donovan Perkins, says the aim is to fully integrate the operations of tourism and other economic sectors and reduce the need for importation to fill the demands of the industry.
Everybody's excited about the research project because what it will do is it will provide the information for all the segments to look to see where it is that there are opportunities in the market for their businesses. We've designed the research instrument, the funding is in place. What we now need to do is to gather the information.
Mr. Perkins was speaking at a recent JIS think tank session. Over 80 beneficiaries of Phases 3, 4A, 4B and 7 from the Arnett Gardens community recently got titles for their properties. The titles were handed over by the Ministry of Transport, Works and Housing to those beneficiaries who have completed payment for land they've occupied for a lengthy period. Portfolio Minister Dr. Omar Davies said the lives of the beneficiaries would be transformed as they would no longer be termed informal settlers.
But you'll be people with your house with legal documentation that you are owners.
And finally, the Jamaica Athletics Administrative Association, J3As, says it will be implementing changes to its management of athletes representing the country in the wake of the recent death of Kavon McKenzie. The 18-year-old St. Jago High athlete died in Trinidad after completing a cross-country race on February 22. Speaking at his funeral on Sunday, J3A's president, Dr. Warren Blake, said the young athlete's untimely death would propel changes going forward.
We cannot afford to have this happen ever again. And in future, when teams go away, as president of the J3As, I'll be endeavoring to ensure that all athletes who go away will have a pre-medical examination before they depart to represent the country, in an effort to try and reduce the prospect of this ever happening again.
Among those who paid tribute to Kavon on Sunday was the Minister with responsibility for sport, Natalie Nita Headley, who represented the Prime Minister at the funeral. And that's it for JIS News today. I'm Caroline Brown-Thompson. Thanks for watching.
Nutritious food, succulent dishes, superior workmanship, and excellent service. Jamaica is on the go. Let's grow what we eat and eat what we grow. Let's harness the indomitable spirit of our most valued resource, our people. Let's support our local businesses. After all, buying Jamaican means building Jamaica.
From meetings with our regional neighbors to presenting Jamaica's statement at the 58th session of the Commission on the Status of Women, Prime Minister Portia Simpson Miller and her team were kept busy this past week. Highlights of some of those engagements next. Strengthening regional cooperation, Jamaica's commitment to gender equality reaffirmed, and memorial service held for youth athlete. I'm Samantha Allen with this week's Jamaica House Weekly. Jamaica continues to place high importance on cooperation with its regional development partners, and this was highlighted during last week's 25th intersessional meeting of CARICOM heads of government in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Prime Minister Portia Simpson Miller attended the summit and participated in several high-level meetings. During the 8th meeting of the Prime Ministerial Subcommittee on the CARICOM Single Market and Economy, Mrs. Simpson Miller supported the recommendation to include the private sector in the Community on Trade and Economic Development (COTED). And as she participated in CARICOM's 25th intersessional meeting, the Prime Minister called for a non-confrontational approach to the issue of reparations. According to Mrs. Simpson Miller, reparation was important given the history and modern consequences of slavery in Jamaica and the wider Caribbean, but insisted it should be a process of reconciliation and dialogue free from animosity. And in an interview following the summit, Prime Minister Simpson Miller underscored the importance of discussions with CARICOM.
All the issues on the agenda, they were of critical importance to our region and to our people. And I am into being involved in any discussion that can impact the lives of our people.
Among other things, the CARICOM heads discussed the use of marijuana for health purposes, climate change, regional economic issues, and information and communications technology. The Prime Minister returned to the island on Wednesday, March 12. By Friday, Mrs. Simpson Miller was on hand for the commencement ceremony for construction works on a highly specialized hospital at Rose Hall in St. James. The 22-bed hospital, which is being constructed by Spain's Hospital Group at a cost of $20 million, is expected to provide employment for 300 workers in the construction phase. The Prime Minister used the forum to reiterate her administration's call for more investment on the island.
There are different areas that you can look at in Jamaica at this time. There is more than enough room to accommodate more investments, and I want to encourage you and to foster the creation of even greater value in tourism and the health sectors.
In the courtesy room at Jamaica House this past week, the Prime Minister played host to the head of the European Union delegation in Jamaica, Ambassador Paolo Amadei, and Mark Connolly, the newly appointed UNICEF representative to Jamaica. News came last week that government was far advanced on work to enact anti-sexual harassment legislation. Minister with responsibility for information, Senator Sandria Faulkner, made the disclosure as she reaffirmed Jamaica's commitment to gender equality, women's empowerment, and the protection of women's human rights. She was addressing the 58th session of the Commission on the Status of Women at the United Nations in New York Tuesday. In line with the finalizing of the post-2015 Millennium Development Goals, Minister Faulkner updated the summit on a number of legislative and gender mainstreaming initiatives to eliminate gender-based violence. They include the revision of the National Strategic Action Plan on Gender-Based Violence and the approval of the National Policy for the Reintegration of School-Aged Mothers into the formal school system. In relation to maternal mortality, Senator Faulkner said Jamaica's maternal mortality rate had seen a 30% decline between 1990 and 2012. She added that 98% of all births on the island were now assisted by a skilled birth attendant. Minister responsible for sport Natalie Nita Headley has praised Jamaica's fifth-place finish in the medal standing at the 2014 IAAF World Indoor Championships in Poland, held from March 7 to 9. A statement from Jamaica House said Mrs. Nita Headley was happy that Jamaica had held on to the women's 60-meter title. Shelley Ann Fraser-Price won the gold by a brilliant run of 6.98 seconds.
I must take the opportunity to first convey on behalf of the Prime Minister, the Most Honorable Portia Simpson Miller, her apologies and sincere condolences to the family.
Minister Nita Headley expressing condolences to the family and friends of the late Kavon Mackenzie as the body of the youth athlete was laid to rest on Sunday in Anotta Bay, St. Mary. Mackenzie collapsed and later died after representing the island at a track meet in Trinidad and Tobago on February 22. And Prime Minister Portia Simpson Miller joined the family, friends and well-wishers of Michael Anthony Pickersgill for a Thanksgiving service on Thursday. The 69-year-old former chairman of the board of Clarendon College passed away suddenly on March 3. Mr. Pickersgill served on several public sector boards, including the Port Authority of Jamaica. Mrs. Simpson Miller also paid her respects at Saturday's funeral for Jenny Hutchinson, mother-in-law of the Minister of Transport, Works and Housing, Dr. Omar Davies. The Thanksgiving service was held at the Spalding United Church in Clarendon. And that's it for this week's edition of Jamaica House Weekly. We return next week with the latest happenings coming out of the office of the Prime Minister.
Welcome to the FSC Minute. I am Nadine Newsome. Today we continue to explore anti-money laundering and its implications for the FSC-regulated sectors. Joining me is Laurice Edwards Brown, Director of Investigations and Enforcement at the FSC. Welcome to the FSC Minute, Larice.
Thank you for having me, Nadine.
Larice, what does the FSC do to ensure that the insurance, securities, and pensions industries comply with anti-money laundering legislations?
The Financial Services Commission issues guidelines to these sectors, the insurance sector, pension sector, and the securities sector. Now, we try to ensure that at a minimum, these entities have controls in place that will prevent them from being used as conduits for money laundering or for terrorist financing. However, the licensees have a responsibility to ensure that they have prudent controls within their place of business to ensure that the guidelines and any government enacted laws are maintained within their organizations.
Does the FSC approve forms, requirements, or policies as it relates to compliance by regulated entities for anti-money laundering?
The FSC does not approve forms or policies used or procedures used by any of our regulated entities in seeking to develop a robust anti-money laundering or countering of financing of terrorism framework. We seek to ensure that they have minimum standards, and we also try to do an assessment of these entities to ensure that there are certain standards that are maintained within these institutions. But the whole process, though, goes beyond policies and procedures. We have to rely on our employees that are within these sectors to ensure that there is a presence of mind when you're dealing with customers who seek to do businesses with your entities.
And how does the Know Your Customer procedure fit into all of this?
The Know Your Customer procedure is very relevant. It helps the employee in the financial institution and also the compliance officer in the institution to understand the employee, know who is it that they're dealing with. So when a transaction seemingly is outside of the profile of that customer, then they can make certain decisions. That includes making a report to the Financial Investigations Division.
Thank you, Larice. My guest today was Larice Edwards-Brown, Director of Investigations and Enforcement at the FSC. For the FSC Minute, I am Nadine Newsom.
Sometimes we fail to be all that we can be or accomplish all that we can, either because of our fear of challenging status quo or because we lack confidence in our ability to make a difference. Many women have been defined by self-defeating environments, but there are many examples of both men and women who have overcome those situations. Let us draw strength from them, find the strength within ourselves, and be courageous about the responsibility and potential of leadership.
That was Jacqueline Sharp, President and CEO of the Scotiabank Group, addressing an International Women's Day Expo at the UWI Mona campus recently. This next feature shines a spotlight on a few women who have emancipated themselves from second-guessing and taken on leadership roles in society.
You can call me by my name, I am ready to roll. Once the rules remain the same.
Mother, wife, sister, aunt, friend, woman, an integral pillar in the structure of society. Though they continue to struggle for equal regard and rights in all professions and areas of life, women are determined more than ever to change the cultures of male-dominated societies and imprint their proficiency across sectors.
I am Ambassador Eleanor Felix, and I'm Chief of State Protocol in the Office of the Prime Minister.
Diana Grand Corporal, Police Officer, Jamaica Constabulary Force.
Yeah, I'm Godelieve Vandenberg, and I'm the new ambassador of Belgium in Jamaica.
Women for a long time, maybe forever, you know, for the whole of history, we were considered to be the weaker sex. We're not able to contribute as much.
With the world's adoption of International Women's Day in 1910, greater emphasis has been placed on empowering women to boldly take on the challenge to enter male-dominated professions.
So what we do particularly when we look at the day is to look at the achievements of women, how far we've been and how far from whence we've come. Not only that, but how far we need to go.
Here in Jamaica, there have been significant social, political, and legislative initiatives that have set the pace for the desired goal of gender equality rooted in the empowerment of women and girls.
And with that has come a new movement. While not forsaking their role in the home, women have chosen to take on unorthodox professions, branching out into fields once dominated by men. Women can now be found in every profession. In many instances, they're the ones leading the charge in changing the face of the corporate world.
The majority of our Jamaican women and girls must be truly empowered so that they can enjoy the best of what Jamaica can offer. We can best achieve the changes necessary when all of us, the entire society, are committed to the full understanding of the plight of the disadvantaged and marginalized majority.
I truly believe that even within my own lifetime, we will be considered to be more equal than has been the tradition.
Be it inspired or empowered, there is no turning back for our women, pushing forward, pressing ahead with a mission to have a place in the workforce, a voice in decision-making, and equal opportunities on the ladder of success.
I don't wanna be no guy, just wanna be respected by the eye. Don't let the style overshadow the credential.
Family, school, church, community, all important agents of change in our society.
They influence what we think about ourselves, our surroundings, and how we see the roles of males and females.
Let's all work together for equality for all Jamaicans.
Let's make Jamaica a place where both males and females have equal access to a good education, good jobs, the best healthcare, and opportunities for the good of the country.
Males and females are different, but it doesn't mean they're not equal.
Let's build a Jamaica that doesn't discriminate.
Become an agent of change.
As we continue to celebrate our women, we have a little advice as they tread the path to empowerment and success. Made popular by the Italian and French nobility in the 16th century, high-heeled shoes are seen as a gift to the fashion-conscious woman. These days, it seems most women find it near impossible not to have a single pair of high-heeled shoes.
I used to like to wear high heels because it carry a nice swag.
Makes you look sexy. To give you a nice, cute, sexy look, so you look more attractive when you're in heels.
It enhances me and it let me look taller.
But though women do feel more confident, surgical chiropodists insist that there's nothing sexy about the long-term damage high-heeled shoes can cause. High-heeled shoes that do not fit properly, are too high, or worn too long can cause health problems.
Between 4 and 6 is far too high, especially over a length of time. The height of the footwear, you know, people need to pay more attention to it because of the problem that it can create. Maybe not now, maybe not tomorrow, but later on.
Most women admit to being fashion slaves. High heels make their feet hurt, but they tolerate the discomfort in order to look taller, stylish, and more professional. But according to Mr. Bernard, women should think twice before wearing very high heels for long periods.
The individual will end up start having problem in the back of their legs, a tightness, because with the heel raised, there's a lot of stress and strain on the muscle fibers there, and they tend to shorten. And in addition to that, the toes are then they come under a lot of pressure because of the height of the heel itself. A lot of weight is transferred, again, as I said, on the toes. A multitude of foot problems develop over the years.
Doctors say most foot problems begin with poor footwear and simply worsen over time. Think of a normal foot which has 5 toes, but many pointy-toed styles like this one appear to be designed for 2, maybe 3 toes. Surgical chiropodists say if you try to force 5 toes into this small space, you will create problems for your feet, especially if you wear them over a period of time.
What is going to happen? The foot eventually, toes become crumpled up and then become fixed into the shape of the footwear. You see, a footwear should fit snugly, not a size too big or size too large. We are now looking at an X-ray of the right foot. The big toe here is normal. The rest of the toes are normal. When you come to the second one, the deformity begins to appear. Look at the shape of it and compare this one to this one. This is caused by narrow footwear over the years.
So, how do you prevent this kind of damage?
Change your footwear. We recommend that, if you were normally wearing a 6-inch heel, you make some adjustment. Come down to a 4 or a 2 every so often. Back and forth, back and forth. So there's no consistency in that 6-inch heel over a long period of time.
With a little care, you can avoid the health hazards related to high-heeled shoes. Prevention is always better than cure, so be health-wise.
Remember that invitation we spoke of at the start of the show? If you appreciate the literary arts and love our Jamaican culture, listen up.
It's a lot. It's a literary festival. It's from the University of Technology, and it's called Celebrating Jamaicans' Evolving Dance Heritage Step by Step. A wonderful name. But in this, they are showcasing various different types of art forms. They have an art exhibition, and the art exhibition, they have a guest speaker, Laura Facey. They have a literary workshop. They have a literary festival and a cultural showcase. They couldn't even put on the fly everything because there's so many people performing. There's Dance Expressions performing, NDTC, the Enda Manley School will be presenting, and my company, La Cadco, but that's not the only company. Tivoli Dance Company is also performing. So there is a range of dance from modern contemporary to traditional to dance hall to hip hop. It's a Thursday, March 20th. Sometimes people get the date and they think when Friday morning wake up, they say, oh, it was yesterday. I don't want people to do that. It is going to be one of the most exciting festivals you can go to because of visually it's going to be stimulating. Artistically it's going to be stimulating, and you're going to see all these kinds of dance that you'd have had to go to 4 different events to experience what you're going to experience in that one day.
And that's our show. We hope you enjoyed the program as much as we enjoyed bringing it to you. Tell us what you liked about the show. Email jamaicamagazine@gis.gov.jm or send us a direct message on our Twitter handle @JISNews. You may also visit our website, jis.gov.jm, for up-to-date information on issues of national importance. On behalf of the entire team here at the JIS, I'm Audrey Williams. Thanks for watching.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.